Hi everyone, so this video is all about my time when I was in America, but primarily it's going to be talking about the Jetblue Mint experience from New York to Los Angeles, one of JetBlue's many destinations within the US, and I treated myself to their Mint experience. Now, the Mint experience is based on a business class style seat, which I think a few airlines are starting to adopt within the US, which is no surprise really, considering it took me nearly 6.5 hours to get from New York to LA, and it takes about the same time to get from the UK to New York. So it's a sort of a step forward. I think it's natural progression. But anyway, back to the story. I went to JetBlue, got the Mint experience, and I decided that I wanted to go for their suite, like a cabin. Their Mint experience was fantastic. I think the problem, I'll start from the right at the beginning. Going to JFK Airport into JetBlue's own terminal, they do have a system in place for people who are mileage people who collect the air miles. There are people who are going on the Mint experience, and they should be expedited through security. However, I feel that was quite a drawn out process, considering it was meant to expedite you through your security line, and I did experience a better process with Delta Airlines whilst I was in the US. I flew first class with them. And another thing I was kind of disappointed with, and to be fair, I was quite happy if needs be to pay a little bit more for it, but I would have quite liked a lounge provided for Mint customers, or their valued air miles customers. I noticed there was a lounge within the JetBlue terminal in JFK, but you had to pay for it. But it wasn't massively advertised. I think if JetBlue obviously had incorporated that within their sort of package, that would have been a really nice gesture, and something that I would have quite happy to have been paid for if needs be on top of the ticket, but it should have been incorporated. So I spent a while sitting on the seats waiting for the plane to get ready, and then this is where it all sort of stops being negative. Everything turns into a massive positive, because when I got on board, I was greeted in a small section right at the front of the plane, and this is where all the Mint customers sat. So there's a layout of 2 seats, suite, so 1 seat, then 2 seats, then suite, then 2 seats, and then obviously you've got your economy in the back. Fantastic. When you first get in, everything's sorted, taken care of. You sat down straight away. They know your surname, which is obviously quite standard amongst business class customers, but if you don't do that very often, it's quite nice for them to sort of recognise you as a valued customer whilst you're on board, and you're given a welcome drink, and that welcome drink is a cocktail. I think it's a honey infused alcoholic beverage, but you can have a non-alcoholic beverage if you choose. I chose the alcoholic beverage, and it was delicious. It was absolutely lovely. And it was nice that they have their own signature cocktail rather than just giving you a glass of champagne when you get on board. I'm not a big fan of champagne. It's too fizzy, it's too bubbly for me, it's quite gassy, and I don't deal with gas very well, tend to belch. So yeah, I was on board. It was fantastic. It was great. It was a lovely experience. When we were up in the air, the service was amazing. Very, very attentive members of staff. The tapas was great. Dessert was amazing. My tapas, I did order 3. You get to order 3 dishes, and 3 dishes came out. However, one of them was wrong. I didn't realise at the time that it was wrong. But one of the cabin crew came over and said, "I apologise. I've messed your order up. Give me 2 seconds, and I'll get you what you've ordered." So she brought out another dish. So in total, I had 4 tapas dishes, very filling, and then obviously some ice cream to finish. But in the interim, I had drinks, and had loads and loads of drinks. One of the benefits of using the suite was because I was travelling alone at this point. I didn't have to sit next to anybody if I didn't want to, and it was a sort of like a night flight. So I did want to catch some sleep if I could. The seat went into a fully flat bed. It was very comfortable. I did get some decent sleep. But one thing to note: if you are in the suite, you have a door which closes by itself, and then you can pull it open. But next to you, sort of like a massive. It would be where another seat would go, but it's covered, and that does get quite warm. So if you've got your back face to it whilst you're asleep, I tend to sweat. But yeah, it was great. The screen was great. The on-demand TV selection was fantastic. I had no complaints at all. I think what they were offering as a service was brilliant. Um, it definitely is up there with what you would expect when you were flying for a long haul flight, especially if you're a business customer. I've never flown first class long haul before, just business class, so I would never know what a first class experience was. But yeah, it was fantastic. It was a lovely flight. You could tell the plane was looked after. They actually looked after the plane. They cleaned it, which was nice, because sometimes when you get on planes, they're disgusting. Looks like they haven't even bothered. There's one airline in particular, which I will not mention, but it is an American airline. Just mentioned them. Terrible, terrible mess on the plane. I mean, really dirty. But that's just my experience flying on their old planes. I suppose they are getting new ones all the time, so that probably they'll take greater pride in the newer aircraft. But back to JetBlue. So flew from New York all the way to Los Angeles. It was kept up to date all the time with everything. The flight attendants couldn't do more for you. It was great. And overall, I think it's something where other airlines, maybe as other big airlines, need to pay attention and make note as to just how tailored that was. I mean, you've got a birch box as well. I can't think of where it's at. It's like a birch box, so it's just a cardboard box, and inside you get lots of little different samples, and you get one for men and one for women, and it's great. There's all these little extra bits and pieces that they put together to provide you as a product, and it's great. Would I recommend that you fly with them? Absolutely. I wouldn't hesitate to fly with them ever again if I was in the US and I needed to go from one part to the other. Would I fly with them in Mint? No question about it, yes I would. I totally converted to that way of flying. I think it's, for the price of what you pay, fantastic. It really is. I mean, if you are living in the US and you do want to try something like that out, you do have a few choices available. There is Delta. I mean, Delta's... I did fly Delta first, and it was nothing compared to the JetBlue service. I think the JetBlue service is quite new. It's fresh. It's funky. It's, you know, it's youthful, and I think that's what that airline brings to the rest of the industry, and it really does sort of stifle up the competition. I think like Virgin America as well, they stifle up the competition. However, their prices are a lot more expensive than JetBlue's. I felt anyway when I went there. So I chose JetBlue over Virgin America, but they were my choices for flying from New York to Los Angeles, and JetBlue was my choice. But I was not disappointed at all with what I received. What I expected is definitely up there with service I've received from Cathay Pacific in the past when I've flown business with them. So yeah, great experience. A few things that can improve before you get on the plane, but other than that, great. And another thing, for some reason, I mean, everybody in the US seemed to know where they were going, but when I got off the plane, I had no idea where my bags were going to be when I got off at Los Angeles. Now, normally you'd be told or you'd be given some form of direction as where to go. So I was like a lost sheep, and I would follow people around until I actually got to the place where I needed to. But yeah, great flight, very comfortable, very relaxed when I got off. Couldn't have asked for more, really. If you liked the video, press the like. If you dislike, press the dislike. Okay, bye bye.